Welcome to Amud Yomi Shiur. Yay, another amazing piece of Gemara. We are in Ches Amud Aleph. However, welcome to everybody on Torah Anytime and on YouTube. Although in Ches Amud Aleph, we still have a debt to pay from Zayin Amud Beis in the Mishnah. Mishnah in Zayin Amud Beis says as follows, and we did not explain the depth of it, what's behind the Mishnah, the iyun of the Mishnah. And Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to do this right now. This Shiur Leil Nishmas of Imeri Menachem Ben Akiva, Ruth Bas Shalom Sal Bas Moshe, ולרפואה פנינה חי בס גאולה רוכל, אסתרפומה בס שושנה מלכה, עקיבא בן נחומה, בסוך שער חול יסוד. זוג דייל גמישנה. נשמת הברזל מקטוי והורג, רבי אומר אינו גוילה. What does it mean? If the barzel itself, meaning the blade, the metal piece fell from the wooden piece, which is the handle, says Rabbi, Eino goyle. Then it obviously killed the victim. Eino goyle, he doesn't go to golus. The Chachomim oimrim goyle. Chachomim say, yes, he goes to golus in such a case. Okay, so case number one, as we said, v'noshal habarzel mina eitz. What does it mean? V'noshal habarzel mina eitz. According to Rabbi, noshal barzel mina eitz does not mean that the piece of metal fell from the cut, from the handle. It doesn't mean that, and in such a case, he's not goyle. He doesn't go to golus, and Chachomim say, yes, it is. That's what the Torah means. The Torah, what? In the Torah, okay. And the Torah is telling me, Chachomim, and the Torah is telling me, according to Chachomim, that the blade did fall from the wood. That's what it means. And Chachomim say, yes, goyle. He is goyle. Yes, he's going to golus. That's what the Torah meant. That if the piece, the metal fell off the handle, that's what the Torah says he has to go to golus. That's machlokes number one. And the flip side of the machlokes is the other case. Mina etz amitbakea, Rabbi Omer goyle, v'chachomim omer mina goyle. Yeah, mina etz amitbakea means, according to machlokes Rashi against Rambam and Meiri, Rashi says you hit the wood, the tree, right, in order to fell it, and a splinter from it, boom, fell, nitas lemerachot, boom, it flew back and killed the victim. In such a case, then Rabbi says, aha, that's what the Torah spoke about. The Torah says goyle. The Torah says goyle, which means the Torah says that in such a case, the person has to go to golus because noshal barzel min ha'etz, according to Rabbi, really means nishal barzel min ha'etz. The barzel fell the tree. The barzel caused some of the tree to disconnect, and that piece of tree of wood, boom, fell. Then the person is chayev, and Chachomim say no. And the question is a double-fold question. Question number one is asked for the Aruch LaNer. Why are Rebbe and Chachomim so particular about the case that the Torah talks about, right? We know that we're not exactly, we're not copycats to copy exactly the same case of the Torah. We have all kinds of cases of killing b'shoigeg, a person who's falling off the ladder, a person pushing by mistake, a person throwing a stone in the street by mistake, a person demolishing his wall. So why are they so nitpicking about these cases? Must be, we're not talking about cases, we're talking about concepts. If we talk about concepts, then we have to understand, that leads us to question number two. What is the conceptual machlokes between Rabbi and Chachomim? Definitely, anybody who's been to yeshiva more than half a day knows, whenever there's machlokes tanoim or amoraim or Chachomim or whoever, or achronim, there's some kind of subtext, there's some kind of lomdus of understanding behind it. Baruch Hashem. What is it? So I sent yesterday the email of Aruch LaNer. I assume you did not get the email. Anyway, so the Meiri, let's go to the Meiri. Meiri, way before the Aruch LaNer. Meiri is a Rishon. How does Meiri explain the Mishnah? The Meiri says as follows: Omar Meiri, Nishmat habarzel mekato ve'orag, Rebbe merina goyle. Now listen to this. Why is it that according to Rebbe, if the metal fell off the handle, the person does not go to golus? Meaning, what is the Torah teaching me by not talking about this case? Says the Meiri, mipnei shu korov lemezid. Wow, that's the shogeg. That's to the left, to the red side, to the bad side. It's closer to mezid. Why? He should have looked carefully. In other words, he should have checked his equipment before starting to work. Give it a thorough checkup. And because he didn't, therefore what? He's worse than a regular goyle. What does he have to do? He is under threat from the goyle Adam, but he cannot run away to the Miklat. The worst situation ever, because he's similar to Mezid. The Chachomim oimrim goyle. Chachomim say no, he goes to Golus. That's regular, middle of the road, run of the mill, middle case of Golus. That's when equipment fell apart. Why? שאין זה קרוב למזיד, שהרבה פעמים עוד המורה הוא מהודק יופה, ואף על פי כן הוא נשמט מקטוי. Many times people check the equipment and there are surprises. So we assume that he checked it. Maybe you have to know be'edim what happened. But the assumption is this was regular X. People don't like to work with bad X's. He had the regular X. It surprised him that, boom, all of a sudden the X, as opposed to the early checkup, the X is now not functioning nicely and fell apart. It wasn't expected. Well, it's not oinus. You should have checked better. Reality is it did happen in the end, but that places you in the middle and you're considered to be a rotzech b'shoigeg. Mashenkin, I'm repeating now, according to Ebi, but the Torah, by not speaking about this case, the Torah considers that as korov le mezid. That's what the Meiri holds. And therefore, you don't deserve Golus. Your situation is worse than Golus. What about the second case? So first of all, I'm jumping with joy. And I have to thank my friend Reuven Berman. He directed me to that Meiri. And Reb Reuven, who's a big mumche in Makkos and many other places in Shas, he told me the B'Shem, the Magid Shiur in the Mir, that this is a general machlokes, which we're going to see later on in the whole thing. As you said, checking equipment. It's not only about Galzin. Let's say you talk about drawing water from the well with a bucket, and the bucket is connected to a rope. And the rope got disconnected and boom, fell on someone's head. Okay, then what do you say? Same thing. According to Ebi, if you did not check your equipment, you are worse than shoigeg. According to Chachamim, you are shoigeg. You are shoigeg itself. What about the second case? The second case of the Mishnah is when you hit the wood and boom, what happened? First of all, boom, there was a hit, and then there was another item called the splinter, strong and sharp. Boom, flew back into the brains of the guy, of the victim, and he died. Says Rebbe, you're chayiv. That's what the Torah spoke about. And Chachamim say you don't. Again, what's the concept? We're not talking about chas v'sholem fairy tales. He went to the forest. What's the lomdisha concept over here? The halachic concept. Yeah, interesting. As you remember from yesterday, we spoke about koyach koichoi. According to Rebbe, this is considered the direct action of the murderer. According to Chachamim, you're not goyel because that's called koyach koichoi. Because it's a double stage action. I hit the tree. Then what happened? Another thing. I finished. Then what happened? The splinter, boom, flew back. That's considered to be koyach koichoi. In other words, it's not his direct action, it's a bit more indirect. And because of that, it says Amiri later, it belongs more to the family of oines. It's not mamish oines, but the leniency is because it's less connected to the person. It's a bit more of a chain reaction. Therefore, Chachamim believe then you are potor. You are looked at, we're more mitigating eyes. Mashenken Lefi Rebbe, no, Rebbe still considers that as koichoi. Rebbe says as long as your hand is on the X, and straight away the X cut the wood, and boom, the wood fell. It's all one continuous thing. According to Rebbe, that's considered as koichoi, and you are goyle begolus. So we have two beautiful machloksim here. Instead of being in the dark yesterday in the forest, now we have it much clearer. Machlokis number one, this is about equipment that seemed to have failed, right? Machlokes is you checked it well, but something happened. What happened? How do you define that? Well, what do you mean there are surprises? You should have checked it better. So Rebbe says you're close to Mezid. Chachamim say no, you're shoigeg. Nobody's giving you prizes. You have to run away to your miklat, but you're not close to Mezid. Mashenke in the other case. Now it's the case number two. How immediate, how direct do you view an action which was two-folded action? That's the other question. So Baruch Hashem, we have to be from a instead of stam a whole big business. Now we are back to Hazar Kesoeven. You seem like you want to ask me something, or is it just my imagination?
Just thinking that we learn in
Okay. We are now in Daf Ches Amud Aleph, back to where we are supposed to be today. Azorek Ha'Even, we're in the middle of the wide lines of Ches Amud Aleph. Midi Di'ise Miko. The line starts with the word Midi, and it's really in the Midi, in the middle of the wide lines. Di'ise Mikore, 2 dots. Azorek Ha'Even. Azorek Ha'Even. So what did we say? We said in the Mishnah something very interesting. That when is a person chayiv for being rotzech b'shogeg chayiv to run away to their miklat, to run away from the blood avenger? That is when. That is only when he's doing something which is dvar hareshus. To go and cut trees in the forest could be something which is a nice profession, maybe hobby. As long as the green people don't watch you, you're okay, right? If you do it responsibly. Now, all very nice. This is dvar hareshus. So if somebody is involved in Dvar Reshus, meaning what? Not a mitzvah, and he killed someone in the process by mistake, then he is goyle, goes to the miklat. As opposed to, if someone is involved in a mitzvah, he hits someone as a mitzvah. Sometimes it's a mitzvah to hit someone, and that is a father who hits his child in order to put him on the straight derech, which today is not recommendable at all, because you hit a child, he'll go even more off the derech. But in the ideal, normal world, that we used to live in, you smack a child. He says, "Oi, what I did is so bad. I got a chap to smack. I better not do it again and go back straight back to the straight path." So, because this is conceptually a mitzvah to spank in order to get him back on the way, if a father hit his child and killed him by mistake, he's potter from golus. Wow! And the same thing, the Rav to a Talmud, the Rebbe to a Talmud gets a spank. He becomes a better student. V'chulei, and also Shliach Bezdin who hit, that's another shayla. Shliach Bezdin, he hit, and by mistake he killed, so then as long as he's doing his mitzvah, he's potter from going to Golus. Azarik Esoeven, Omer Laomer Rabbanon Lerove. One of the Rabbanon asked Rove the following, Mimayde mechatovas eitzim dirashus, Dilma mechatovas eitzim de sukkah, mechatovas eitzim de ma'arocho. Who told you that who told the Mishnah that when I go and I cut wood in a fell wood in the forest, how do you know it's not a mitzvah? Maybe I need the trees, I need the pieces of wood for my traditional sukkah, in the festival of tabernacles, of Sukkot, or maybe I need it for the Eitzei Ma'arocha. In other words, maybe I'm working for Beis HaMikdash and I need wood for the Ma'arocha, for the Mizbeach. There were 3 Ma'arochas on the Mizbeach, 3 pyres, Pyre. On the Mizbech, and they're made out of wood. So maybe he's going for a mitzvah. And yet the Torah doesn't seem to discriminate. The Torah says everybody who killed b'shoigeg, I don't know what the motives are. Maybe he's doing a hailing a mitzvah, preparing a sukkah, preparing a mizbech marocha. And yet the Torah says he goes to Golus. Omalei says Rove, no. Says Rove, that's not called a mitzvah. Why? Kemen di imotzachotuv lav mitzvah. Ashtanami lav mitzvah, which means if I found sukkah trees, or I go to buy ones, wood for the sukkah that's already cut, pre-cut sukkah wood, I don't have to be choitev. There's no mitzvah to dafka cut the wood, right, for the sukkah. If I don't have any, I would cut it. But if I have, I'll use a ready-made one. Same thing with the ma'arocha. And therefore, we say, Ashtanami lav mitzvah. Therefore, even when the person does the cutting, he cuts the wood for sukkah, because it's not a mitzvah chiyuvis, it's not a mitzvah you have to do, and it's not a mitzvah at all. So we don't view it as a mitzvah whatsoever, because it's a functional thing. I have to have wood for the sukkah, so I prepare for the mitzvah. Rashi says something unbelievable. Rashi says, El asiyas sukkah, that making the sukkah is a mitzvah. That's a big chiddush. Yes, there's such a thing. The Mishnah Berurah says there's such opinions. They say when you say the first night, you say Leishav V'Sukkah, you have to be mechaven, or the Shechion. I don't remember. When you make the brachos, then you have to have kavanah also making the sukkah attractively, because making the sukkah is a shaila if it's called a mitzvah or not. I would say it's a hechsher mitzvah. 1 second, but clearly the stage before the building to prepare the raw material for the building of the sukkah, that's so far apart. That's not called a mitzvah. Finished. Okay. What? Possibly. It's not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. Because, again, Rava defines, if you don't have to do it, it's not a mitzvah. That's it. You have to do it if you don't have any other wood. You live in the cuckoo land, they don't have sukkah center to sell you your sukkah needs. I'm doing some advertisement here. Yeah, but that's it. Let's let it. Okay, fine. The Gemara will clarify that. Eis v'Ravina leRove. Now Ravina is asking Rove about what Rove just said. Yotza hava Makkos b'noi. A father hits his son, or the Rebbe that hits his Talmid, v'shliach beis din. Wait a second, is there a mitzvah always to hit your son, whatever happens? Lema, kevan de'ilu gamir, lav mitzvah, hashanami lav mitzvah, which means, let's say my son would be a good learner, would behave nicely, I wouldn't have smacked him. So too, even when I do smack him, if he's not gomir, he doesn't learn nicely, he chaps a patch, and then he's going to learn better, the way it used to be, then it's not a mitzvah either. And yet the Mishnah does give it as an example, right? The Mishnah says there is an example for something which is a kos mitzvah to spank your child, to get him back straight on the straight path. A son who is on a straight path, you don't smack him. So according to your logic, that only something I have to do always is called a mitzvah, and then the Mishnah's own example is not a mitzvah. Answers the Gemara, I want to surprise you. The Gemara is going to surprise you, Baruch. Answers the Gemara, Hossam over there, Afal gav the gomir mitzvah. Even if the son learns nicely, it's still a mitzvah to spank him a shtickle, to give him musar. Dichtiv yoser bincho v'nicheko. I saw the pasuk inside in Mishlei. Yoser bincho v'nicheko v'iten madonim lenafshecha. Leyaser, by the way, okay, we'll go to the philosophy later. The pasuk pshat of the pasuk. Yoser, spank your son and he'll give you nachas, yenichecho, he'll give you minucha, iten madonim lenafshecha. A child who's been given musar in the olden days by spanking will only give you nachas and madonim. He will feed you, shep nachas and madonim, and good stuff will come from him, which means that it's always the chiyuv of the father to spank the child, whether good or bad, and therefore it is a mitzvah. As opposed to the sukkah, where if I have eitzim, I don't have to go to the forest. I have better things to do with my life. And only if I happen not to have wood, then I go to the forest. That's not a mitzvah, because it's optional. But the children, it's not optional. A good spank is always on time. I'll just translate it to 2024, where sadly it's a rebellious generation. Already Rav Wolbe said it's a rebellious generation, so there's no one to talk to. You can't spank because it would get you the opposite result. But we do see here that even a good child, a goody goody, also needs musar. I read it once in the chinuch, needs not in a bad way, but you have to, give limitations and make sure the son that goes on the straight path stays there by, sometimes being harsh and limiting and putting limitation to the son. A lot of kids go off the derech. I read about it more and more, and I know it for sure that a lot of the off the derech is not always because they're not loved or not this. Many times it's a lack of boundaries. Today there's so much into the other direction of love, love, love. Love is very important, but they don't give boundaries to the children. Children live in a world with no boundaries, and they decide everything and not the parents, and that's a lot of that's a cause, the root for many problems today. And you see here, everybody needs some yisu. Liyasel doesn't mean always spanking, because today it won't work. Pashut. Give him musar, teach him musar, and see what happens.
Of outside influences.
They should from a young age. They should have, as much as they can, they should try and put filter on the internet and tell the children from a young age not to befriend certain people. So for that, you need good relationship. You need good relationship with the children. You'll be a better friend for your children than the bad friend. That's how it works today. And as much as you can try and as much as you can. It's not simple at all. Not simple. Hadar Omarove. Back to us. Okay, so for so good, parents, we're holding. It's a self-contained sugya. Hadar Omarove. Afterwards, after Rava finished the conversation with Ravina, and Rava gave him this very nice lomdus answer, Rava said, Rava is like, kicking himself, saying, lav mil sahi damri. What I told him is not the best answer. I could have answered him an even better answer. Why? I answered him belomdus. Can you do it without? Svoro, my own svoro. I'm telling you now a better answer from the words of the pasuk itself. The words of the pasuk itself prove the question wrong. Why? What does the pasuk say? V'asher yova Yisraelu bayar. Asher yova Yisrael bayar means asher is like when and if a person steps into the forest and he comes and he cuts wood and so and so. How does it sound to you? Doesn't sound like a mitzvah. Says Rove, di by ayil, di by lo ayil. The words asher, which means when a person comes to, means When you do, if and when you come, you happen to come to the forest, so and so happen. If you want, you may come. If you don't want, you don't have to come. This al kadatach mitzvah. But if you're talking about a person who's going to cut his sukkah wood and he has no other sukkah wood, and he has to sit in sukkah tomorrow night, otherwise he's a poshea, right? If we're talking about such a case, misagya de lo ayil, can the Torah portray such a case that if he wants to, doesn't have to go? He has to go. From the context and the wording of the pasuk, it sounds like this particular pasuk is talking about the dvar hareshus and not about dvar mitzvah, and that would be a better answer. Okay, asher means if you feel like it's not a mitzvah. Mimela, if it is a mitzvah, like spanking your kid, then you're not chayav. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'kol nivro. Amar Rav Ada bar Rava lerove. Now Rav Ada bar Rava, Rav Ada bar Rava is now attacking Rava from a different direction. Kol hecha dechtiv asher diboihu. Are you sure? Every time the Torah says the word asher, so and so, if and when, asher, when, that, so and so happens, it means dvar reshus. It means if you feel like good, otherwise no. It's always talking about some free for all kind of thing, not about a mitzvah. Elameata, let's put your rule into a test. Let's test your rule. Elameata, according to this, it says, we read it not so long ago in Chukas, Ve'ish asher yitma velo yischato. It says in the Torah, here I'm reading, Ve'ish asher yitma, a man asher, a man which Yitma, a man that became Tomeh for a mace, yeah, he got in contact and became Tomeh for a mace, V'lo yischato, did not purify himself with Pora Aduma, V'nichas hanefesh mitoch hakol. He went into Beis HaMikdash, b'mezid, or he ate kodshim b'mezid, knowing that he's Tomeh, oy, 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 oy. What's the punishment? Kret, kores, he gets kores. And what does it say there? Let's read again. Elamata ve'ish asher yitma v'lo yischato. Asher yitma sounds like dvar reshus. There are two reasons why people go to a levaya or take care of a mace. Either they go to the levaya because they feel like, they don't have to. It's not a Levar Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Yeah, there are 5,000 people to the levaya of that simple guy. I sit and learn in Koilo. But pashtus, I'm not going to all the details. Yeah, there's a Shiloh, it's in a different town, whatever, I don't have to. It's far away. There is, however, a mace which everybody has to go to the levaya, and that is mace mitzvah. Let's say not everybody. You found in the you drive down the road, you see a dead body, like in the horror movies. Yeah. And what do you do now? You're mechuyev to drop everything whatsoever, even on our Leila Seder, whatever that is, and deal with the mace and be nitma for the mace, even if you're Kohen Gadol. You have to be nitma to the mace, meaning it's not optional, it's a chiyuv. So when we talk about coming in contact with the dead, as you call it in English, to be nitma le mace, yeah, to become a mace, there are two boxes that open now in our minds. There's reshus. I came to the Levi just to peek in, to say hello for the last time. I don't have to, and I became Tomeh. Or, yeah, I came to hospital to visit the cafeteria of the hospital. They have a nice coffee shop in the hospital right next to the morgue. Yeah, that's reshus, no chiyuv whatsoever. And on the other extreme, sometimes tumas mace is a chiyuv. Tumei mace, a person's relatives, a person who's dead and nobody else takes care of him, a mace mitzvah, then it's a chiyuv. Now, with your logic, Rava, let's test the pasuk. You said the word asher always means yeah, reshus, yes, no, no. Even the word asher and reshus are a bit similar. Elamat, according to your Rava, it says again, ve'ish asher yitma, a man which became Tomel mace, v'lo ischata, and he did not purify himself with the Pora Aduma, and he went into Beis HaMikdash, he gets chorus. The way you read the pasuk, it's going to come out like this. Iboy mitma, iboy loy mitma. A person who's asher, he could be nitma and he could be not. He could have gone to the morgue to pay a visit to the dead people or not. It's dvar reshus. And then he went to the Beis HaMikdash. When he's tameh, he gets chores. Meis mitzvah, deloy sagi, deloy mitame. What happens with the person which doesn't fall under the word asher? A person loy sagi, deloy mitame. He has no other choice. A person has to be nitma, right? Even a kohen, he saw a dead man by the side of the road. He has to pull him and call Hatzalah and go and bury him if it's no other option. Are you telling me Hachanami de Potu? According to your logic, he's not included in the word Asher. So look how the pasuk is going to come out. Very interesting. Comes out that really a person who had to be nitma lemes because it's a mace mitzvah, and then did not have the paraduma process and not the mikveh, and then went to Beis Hamikdash, no problem. Because I am a tzaddik, I didn't. That's what comes out according to you, and it's a paradox, and it's wrong. The Gemara doesn't even speak it out because it's so clearly wrong. Because we all know that's not the halacha. Whether you are nitma b'reshus or b'mitzvah or b'choiva, you're not allowed to go into Beis Hamikdash brazenly and blatantly and go in without being purified first. And according to your Rava, that's not what the pasuk says. If you're learning the word asher means dvar reshus, excluding mitzvah, so somebody who's nitma l'meis mitzvah is allowed to eat kochim betuma and go to kodesh betuma. That's not true. I'm using nice lotion. It's not true. That's how that Rava. Give me a second, and then I'll hear. Let's just get to the. It's one of these. Yeah.
His svara. That's why you come with a conclusion. He didn't say you have to say that it's a diet. It comes out when you're diet, you're gonna be making when you should really be machmir.
I think that's what I said.
No, but what I didn't get.
Okay, answers the Gemara. If you understood it, everybody else did also. People online are very intelligent people, those who watch us. Shani Hossam answers the Gemara. Shani Hossam over there, it's different. Which means, Enochanami says, Rava, you know what? Don't attack me. I am right. The word Asher means Dvar Reshus. And if you just read the beginning of the Pasuk that says, Asher, whoever, Asher Yitma Lemeis, will, and go to Beis Hamikdash, V'nichraso, it's Dvar Reshus. However, the Torah is adding extra words afterwards, and it says afterwards, Tome hiye oid tumosoi boy. The end of the pasuk adds more words. Tome hiye. Of course, he'll be Tome. What's the chiddush? To include even the one who is nitma b'mitzvah. And chinami the pasuk asher. I am right. If you read the first part of the pasuk, that's what comes out. Asher, a person who optionally, just out of his own volition, of his own free will, decided to go to the hospital to touch the dead for no reason, he gets chores. You're telling me that other people are potter? Comes the Torah and adds a cute choshev word at the end. Tome yihiyeh. He shall be tome. What's next to he shall be tome? To add and include even the one that's nitma b'mitzvah. The one that's tome b'meis mitzvah, he too, if he goes to Beis Hamikdash betuma, chapsa kores. Very good. So Rava is right and Halacha is right. Very good. Frek the Gemara, another twist before the end of the sugya. Ahu, that word tome here, which you're using to teach me someone who's nitma b'choiva, meis mitzvah, mibayle. We use that that word for a different drasha, as the Gemara asks many times, right? Yeah, there's always a musical chairs, which drasha will be taught from which word. That word is already taken, boom, occupied, taken. That word here, there's something else you learn from that. What's the something else? Big Yesoid, the it says in the Rice is Nozir, Tomehiyeh, the words Tomehiyeh, which we just learned something from, L'rabois Tvul Yoim, is coming to add Tvul Yom. What's a Tvul Yom, anybody? It's the beginning of Broches, the beginning of Shas. And what's the status now? Went to mikveh before sunset, and now he's in between, which means he is not allowed to eat Truma. Right? It's a Kohen, he's not allowed to eat Truma, he's allowed to eat, let's say, other things is Torah, but for Truma, he's not allowed to eat Truma. What happens if he goes to Beis Hamikdash? He's half Tor. He's been to the mikveh, he's halfway house. He's half Tor. What is he? He is okay in between for certain things, other things, no, he can't eat Truma, definitely not Kochim. And now in this between afternoon, let's say, and Shkia, in this in-between situation, if he goes to Beis Hamikdash, look at Rashi, Rabbis Tvul Shimnichnas Lamikdash Onush Kores. Wow. At Tvul goes to Beis Hamikdash, he gets Kores. How did I know that? His level of Tuma is less than the other one. Thank you. The word here is coming to tell me Tvul Yom. Now let's continue. Tum Osri boy. Another extra word in the posuk, the tumah boy. The tumah stays within him. I know already twice he's tumah. Why does it have to tell me for the third time? Tumah boy, his tumah is within him. Lerabois mechusar kippurim. Mechusar kippurim is the other side of the story. To include mechusar kippurim, which means some people, I'll tell you who they are. Zav, Zava. If you don't know what that means, please let me know. Zav and his Zava is the women like the head blood. Zav is, you know what Zav is? Zav Zava, Yoledes, a woman after birth, and Mitzoiro, person who has Tsaras. Then these four people, for them, it's not enough to have the mikveh. They need Maim Chaim, first of all, and also they need to bring a korban, right? The Yoledes says to it 40 days or 80 days, depends if a boy or girl. What does she do in day 41 or 81? She has to bring a korban on the Mizbeach LaHashem. She has to bring a korban, right? If she's not so rich, she has to bring 2 birds, otherwise a bird and an animal. What happens then? What happens after the nightfall, right? In other words, she's been already to the mikveh. There was shkia, so she's almost there. He or she almost there. Tomorrow, they have to bring the korban. Until they didn't bring the korban, they're called mechusar kippurim. They're lacking, they're missing the kapara of the korban. What happens in that stage if they went to Beis HaMikdash? Early in the morning, before they brought the korban, they go to Beis HaMikdash, chayv kores. You may ask a question, so how can they bring the korban if the chayv kores coming in? And that's why they have to stay. They're allowed to be in Ezras Noshim, but the steps of the Kohanim outside Shar Nikono. They're allowed to be there and they stand there and they watch the korban, but they're not allowed to go through the gate. Shar Nikono is the dead end for them. It's a no entry zone, and that's why there's a shalom they can check the korban with a long knife. It's out here. But they can stand over there, but they can't go in. Once the korban is brought, then they can go in. But before that, it's an Isur Chorus. Wow. In any event, it's a Taina on Rove. You're telling me that the word Tomehiyeh is coming to include the person who's Nitma b'meis mitzvah. Now we see no. Tomehiyeh is coming to include the Tvul Yom. Answers the Gemara, Ano me'oid kamina. It says oid to Moshe boy. There are three extra words here. Tomehiyeh, oid to Moshe boy. The word oid wasn't used. He found a spot, oid. The word oid is telling me that even the person who is tome lemeis mitzvah kamina, even he even he would get chorus if he went to mikdash betuma. Ad kan, the discussion between Rove and Ravina and the other ones. Now we're going to take this entire conversation, as the Gemara does many times, and as you always say the word, and we pin it to another issue. Basically, we are cutting and pasting. If you ever use Word documents, yeah, we cut and paste. We take this entire discussion and we now connect it to a different discussion, completely not even to do with our sugya, but we just have to say it because it's in context. So far, so good? Yes, you okay? Beseder. Weiter. Some people learn this discussion between Rove, Ravina, and the others on this point. It says in the Torah, if I'm not mistaken, in the end of Parshas Mishpatim, it says, B'chorish u'b'kotzer tishbois. If you learn the Torah, yeah, the Pashup Pshat, yeah, I think it's in, no, it's at the end of Kisisa. Sheshes yomim tavoid, u'b'yom hashvi'i tishbois, you work for 6 days, and on the 7th day you rest, B'chorish u'b'kotzer tishbois, yeah. You have to rest from chorish, from plowing, and from kotzir, which is harvesting. So on the day of the Sabbath, you're not allowed to do chorish, don't plow, and don't cut don't cut the cereals, don't cut the wheat and barley. So I can watch TV. You're not allowed to do even during the week. So I can smoke a cigarette. Yeah, can I throw stones? Can I do whatever I want on Shabbos? Only these two are also? Clearly not. Because it says many times in the Torah, lo tase kol melocha. You're not allowed to do any melocha. So it's very strange. The Torah all of a sudden is telling me, don't plow and don't harvest, right? What's going on over here? Therefore, Rabbi Akiva straight away, before even saying anything, that's a famous sugya in Rosh Hashanah Daf Tes Amud Aleph, Rabbi Akiva says we're not talking here about the day of the Sabbath on Saturday, known as Shabbos. We're talking here about the Shemitah year. This is agricultural. Chorish Kotzil 7. Jewish trivia. Chorish Kotzil 7. That's what are these words have to do with? Yeah, you ask her 3 years old, Shemitah. Says Rabbi Akiva, this pasuk, although it doesn't sound like it, but we're kind of forced to say we're talking about Shemitah, and really it's telling me not to do Chorish and Kotzir and Shemitah. It doesn't really help though, because the Torah already tells us at the beginning of Parshas Behar, all kind, as the Gemara is going to say. Now, Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara will do the job for me. Says Rabbi Akiva, for the Torah to tell me I'm not allowed to plow and to cut and harvest and reap on Shemitah, that's old news. In the main parsha of the Torah of Shemitah, in Behar, it says at the beginning, yeah, don't plant, don't sow the seeds, don't cut, don't harvest the vine, and the similar things. So we know already about the malachos of the agricultural malachos in Shemitah. I know not to do them. So why is the Torah hinting now? Story Shvi. What's the Torah coming to tell me? Ella, here comes big news. Ella, afilu chorish shel erev shvis shenichnas l'shvis. When do you plow, my friends? You don't have to be an agriculture or a mumche for Shabbos to know plowing is the first thing you do before anything else, right? You plow, prepare the ground for the next season, for the next sowing season, exactly in Cheshvan, and therefore the chiddush is not only on Shvis during Shvis, even Chorish before Shvis. You're not allowed to be chorish on at the end of Mechlokas B'Sham and B'Silel when from Sivan from afterwards. You're not allowed to plow your field at the end of the 6th year, looking as if you're preparing it for Shvis. Yeah, according to Rabbi Kiva, it's an Isra Doraisa. We don't pass it; it's also Doraisa. You're not allowed to plow your field before Shvis in preparation for the Shvis. Yeah, even if you won't do anything, that alone is an Isra to look at. I don't know. I'm not saying it's Marisain because according to him it's Doraisa. Yeah, you're not allowed to plow on the 6th year as if you're preparing for Shvis. The Kotzir shel Shvis sheyotzel l'matzor Shvis. The Kotzir is the other side of the Shvis on the way out, meaning. You tell me, guys, let's say there is some wheat, barley in Eretz Yisrael. They grew in Shemitah in Eretz Yisrael, and they got to their crucial, important halachic stage of a third on Shvis. And now you cut it. Forget about Sfichim. Let's just put that on the side. You cut it on the 8th year. Does it have Kedusha Shvis or not? Are you allowed to throw it in the garbage, smear it on your body? No. Because something that grew on Shvis, even if you consume it 5 years later, and that happens with wine. You should be careful still till today. I'm not joking. You will look at the wine, and first of all, they have to be careful with Chsherim. And if it says in the wine, Oitzer Beis Din, I don't care that now is like, I think, like, well, 3-4 years after Shemitah. Who cares? If that wine belongs to Shemitah, it remains Shemitah forever. Nothing changes it, right? Because that wine was harvested, the grapes, when, or after harvested, they came to a certain important stage during Shemitah. And therefore, even if it's in the 8th year, the Kotzir, you may cut it on the 8th year, right? But the Maisa that belong to the Shvis, she yotzel l'matzor Shvis, you're chayev. Very good. Says Rashi, Kotzel b'Shvis, so chlinik b'kedusha Shvis, you have to treat it with kedusha Shvis. You have to be very careful not to have one drop falling the wrong direction. So that's how Rabbi Akiva is learning. And Rabbi Akiva actually is not the main focus now. Let's see how Rabbi Shmuel is learning the pasuk. Rabbi Shmuel Oimer, Ma chorish reshus, af kotzir reshus. Says Rabbi Shmuel like this. Why is not Rabbi Shmuel says we are talking about Shabbos? Rabbi Shmuel says bye Shvis. That's my colleague Rabbi Akiva. I respect him a lot. My name is Rabbi Shmuel, and I'm telling you that this pasuk b'chosh b'kotzir tishbois is talking about Shabbos, as is a pasuk pshat. And your question is, what's the chiddush? None of the 39 malachos is allowed in Shabbos. Why did we pick chosh and kotzir? The two good friends chosh and kotzir. I'll tell you why. Ma chorish reshus af kotzir reshus. Let me explain. Chorish, there's never, ever, ever a mitzvah. You can challenge me because the Gemara says it, not me. There's never a mitzvah to plow a field. In other words, it's a nice thing to support your family. It's a good thing, very nice. There's no specific mitzvah. The Torah says you have to plow a field. Chorish is always by definition reshus. So too kotzir reshus, which means kotzir. 99% of the cases when you harvest something from the field, if you want, fine. If not, not. There's one case where the Torah obligates you, or more. No. The shlicha beis din to kotzir to do Kotzil, not Sukkot, another Jewish festival. The Omer, I like how we have to pronounce it. That's how I have to pronounce it. The Omer, right? You know about the Omer offering? Oh, it has to be cut on Motzei Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach, whether you like it or not. Somebody already cut it before. You have to cut it yourself from a field in Eretz Yisrael, preferably close to Yerushalayim, all kinds of conditions. And it's a mitzvah. Yeah, it says Reshis Ktsir from the Kotzir that you harvested, you have to harvest. And that's a mitzvah. They did a whole halabalu, whole balagan, whole festival they did over there. Many people gather to see the Kotzir of the Omer. That's a mitzvah of its own. It's not just preparation. You have to do the kotzil, like you have to take lulav. Comes Rabbi Shimon says, listen to this. Cholish and kotzil are, as we say in our scrollies, juxtaposed. They're right next to each other. One is teaching on the other. Now let's read. Machorish reshus, just like cholish is always reshus, and there's 0 cases of cholish which is obligatory. Of kotzil reshus, so too the kotzir that the Torah doesn't allow you to do on Shabbos is only the type of kotzir which is reshus, as opposed to yotzo ktsira omer shu mitzvah, excluding ktsir omer which is mitzvah. When you harvest for the omer and that's a mitzvah gdolah chiyuv, that the Torah says you're allowed to do on Shabbos. Again, let me explain. Just the Torah should be epitome of the do what you want kind of thing, and therefore, of course, Cholish is not allowed to do on Shabbos. I feel like plowing on Shabbos? No way. So to the kind of kotzir which you're not allowed to do on Shabbos is a kotzir which is like Cholish in the sense that it's reshus, meaning a kotzir which is a mitzvah, the obligatory kotzir, trumps away Shabbos, and that's why it says the Mishnah in Menachos. It's a whole beautiful descriptive Mishnah. Motzei Yom Tov Rishon, even if it falls on Shabbos, like it happens today sometimes, right? Yeah, Motzei Rishon Shel Pesach. Yeah, no, actually no, wrong. Lo mishane. But Motzei doesn't. I'm sorry, no, Shiur was said, doesn't matter. But in the times of the Mishnah, it did happen. There was Motzei Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach fell on Shabbos, right? On Shabbos. And they would dafka do a big halabalu, and they would say, Shabbos Hayom? Yes, Shabbos Hayom. The whole crowd would shout, yes, to show that we're cutting on Shabbos. Why? Because it's Dukim. They like to be frum when it's when it's wrong. When you're not supposed to be frum, then the tzdukim like to be frum. And the tzdukim said, no, you're not supposed to be mechalel Shabbos for what? For the kotzir. And we said, yes, we do. That's a drosha we have. Bekitzer, that is the drosha of Rabbi Shmuel. Now we're beginning to smell the similarity here to the previous sugya. We're beginning to get the story here. We're again talking about kotzir, which is reshus, as opposed to kotzir mitzvah. You have a kotzir mitzvah, which is one kotzir harvesting for the omer, which is brought the morning after. That kotzir, that pushes away, that overrides Shabbos, and you cut on Shabbos in public. Now the ball starts rolling. Now we're doing the cut and paste. Now the whole discussion of Rabbanon, Rov, and Ravina, boom, we're going now to move it here. Not exactly cut and paste, but similar discussion. Frekt, Omer Rabbanon Rov, mimai de charisha de reshus, dilma charishas omer de mitzvah. How do you know that chorish is always reshus? Maybe a person is chorish his field with highly kavunis, is plowing for the omer. That person is designated by Beis Din. He knows that this field will be plowed with barley for the mitzvah of the omer, and the charisha is for that. He's not doing it stam. And still the Torah said, Tishbois, bechorish of mitzvah, kotzir of mitzvah, you should stop. So maybe the whole idea of Rabbi Shmuel is wrong. And maybe Anachanami, Shabbos overrides the mitzvah. Both the mitzvah of chorish, because I'm chorish for the omer, and the mitzvah of kotzir for the omer. Maybe Shabbos trumps them, not the other way around. Omer Le answers Rava, similar way to what he answered before. Again, no, that's not called mitzvah. If I found a field that's already beautifully plowed, it was plowed by itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, plowed by Arabs, plowed by Goyim, plowed by I don't know who. It's plowed already. Chorush, beautiful, all beautifully done, very, very nice. Yeah, furrows, beautiful furrows. And then what? And I found it like that. I don't have a mitzvah to be chorush again, like sukkah. Yeah, you go to a hotel, they built a sukkah for you. You go to your brother-in-law. No, seriously, he built a sukkah for you. Thank you very much. I don't have to build a sukkah. He called shekeh not to prepare before. Yeah. So, mimela lav mitzvah. Therefore, I don't define it as a mitzvah. Something which I don't have to do. I only do it if I have no other choice. That's not called a mitzvah in my book, says Rove. Eis ve'Ravina leRove. Same mahalach. Now Ravina is asking Rove. Yotzav makes bnoi v'arav oides talmidoi v'shliach bezdin. If father hits his son or the rebbe the talmid in shliach bezdin, it's a mitzvah for them to hit. V'amai, why? According to your logic, Rove, lema kemen ilugomir lav mitzvah hashtanami lav mitzvah. Again, if the kid is behaving perfectly, he's a straight A kid. You know what it means, straight A English people, yeah. His O levels and A levels are absolutely fab. Yeah, especially in Torah. He's absolutely good Talmud, behaves amazingly. I don't have to hit him. So therefore, even if the kid misbehaves and is not learning anything, then hitting him is not mitzvah. If you only call mamish imperative chiyuv mitzvah and otherwise no, then why is the Mishnah calling hitting a kid mitzvah? Answers the Gemara, as we said before, no, you get it wrong with chinuch. Hosom, afal gav the gomir, first wide line. Afal gav the gomir, nami mitzvah kovid. Yeah. Even if he learns nicely, you still give a mitzvah. We give him a patch shtickle. Dechtiv, it says Yosef bincha v'inichecha. Interesting. Rav Avadia Yosef, I saw a clip that his grandson came with a report card, which is all amazing and good. So he patched him in a how do you call it? In a friendly, in a Sephardi loving way. Like in a loving way, we gave him a nice patch like that. So maybe it was Mekayim, maybe that was the idea. Maybe Rav Avadia had that in mind, to give a patch in a loving way. But still a patch, yeah? So therefore says Rava, what do you want? Any kind of patch to any kid is always a mitzvah, as opposed to, therefore, when it comes to Rotzach b'Shoigeg, he's potu, b'Shoigeg, when it comes to the Charisha, no. If I find a plowed field, I'll be wasting my time, bittul Torah, by plowing another field, especially for the Omer, Shtuyot, it's nonsense, no revach. That's the answer, the same as before. Hadar Omer Rove, just like before, Rove is now, so to speak, kicking himself. I could have given a better answer. Love me or say damri. No, what I said before wasn't the best answer. I could have answered not from my svaro. Rav is teaching us something. Rav is not some regretting. Rav is telling us it's always better to answer not from your own svara. It's better to answer from the words and context of the pasuk. You want to prove someone wrong? Don't give him your own svara, showing the pasuk, and let him read the pasuk correctly. Damri ktsira dumi de charisha. What did you claim, Mr. Makshan, the one of Rabbanon? Hey, Charisha and Ktsira are really the same. Why? Charisha is sometimes a mitzvah, because if I didn't find a field that's plowed, I'll plow it myself. What a gross mitzvah. I'm not plowing for my own mundane gashmis. I'm plowing for the choimer. Oy, 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 oy. Hey, ligazach. I'll say 10 l'shem yichuds before. So that Charisha, maybe that you should compare to Ktsira. And both of them should be trumped by Shabbos. Even if you follow your logic, it's still missing something. Is that so? You do agree to me, Mister. I'm talking on behalf of Rove, yeah? That if you found a field that's plowed, you don't have to. That's true. I'm not now, I'm Rova. I'm not now, like I said before, defining a mitzvah, not defining a mitzvah. Define it whichever way you want. Call it a mitzvah, call it a UFO, call it a crystal glass. But lemaisa, facts are facts, right? Charisha, if you found a plowed field, you don't have to new furrows. Of ktsira nami, it's ktsira the same? Mitzvah, you really want to compare them? If you found a very nice, golden, amazing, kodesh, a bunch of what? Of barley, ready for the oimer, which wasn't niktar lemitzvah. Don't you have to do the special kotzir yourself? Mitzvah liktar lahavi. Of course you do. Before Shapasuk, you have to be koitzer for the oimer. And therefore, even whether you define it to mitzvah or not, let's leave that whole discussion. Clearly, they can't be compared your way. You want to make a comparison between chalk and cheese, between apples and oranges. You want to compare two things, because however you define it, the pasuk itself is telling you you're wrong. Chorosh and kotzir are mentioned together, yes. Chorosh and kotzir are halachically not the same. Chorish, if you found a plowed field, you don't have to plow. Kotzir, you found already harvested from before by animals, you do have to bring before. You have to harvest. Not the same. Therefore, must be your way of reading is wrong. Yeah, you're reading it the wrong way around, and you have to respect the differences. So, what is the maskana? Rabbi Shmuel. Let's read Rabbi Shmuel again outside. Says Rabbi Shmuel, they're different, and yet they're compared. Meaning, we take a quality from Kotzir, from Chorish, sorry, and give it to Kotzir. Meaning, just like Chorish is not as much as a mitzvah as Kotzir, because Chorish you don't have to do, and therefore Chorish is always called Reshus, because there's never a case in the Torah that Bahuka Bakruka have to do Chorish. This morning, we all have to put tefillin. We like it, we don't like it, unless the Chas V'Shalom guys in operation, surgery. We always have to put on tefillin every weekday, whether we like it or not. That's it. You have to. There is no mitzvah like that by Chorish, right? And now the Torah compares it to Kotzir. Oh, by Kotzir, there is one time in the year that I have to do the Kotzir. Ah, very good. There's a comparison. Just like Chorish Reshus is what I'm not allowed to do on Shabbos, so too the kind of Kotzir which is Reshus, 99% of the Kotzir is not allowed on Shabbos. The one who is allowed on Shabbos, is exception to the rule, is the mitzvah of the Kotzir. Therefore, the Kotzir mitzvah, right before the Omer, Motzi, Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach, I'm allowed to do, and I have to do. I was wrong, not allowed. You have to do it, even if it is on Shabbos, Saturday, Friday night. Next Mishnah. Okay, I allow you a question because anyhow, I'm not going to get to the end of the page. Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva has a whole different drush altogether. It's to do with Shemitah. Rabbi Akiva says we're talking about the Shemitah year, and he's a different gang completely from Rabbi Shmuel. That's not the discussion. He's a bystander. He's not involved in the discussion. Look at you. The discussion evolved around Rabbi Shmuel. Right, it says the Mishnah. Ha'av goyla lidei ben. Again, the father and the son, one killed the other. The father goes to Golus through the son, meaning the father killed his son, I assume maybe by mistake in the forest, and the father goes to Golus by mistakenly killing his son. That will be a discussion soon. Very good. That will be a discussion. Nice. I like what you said. The ben goyla lidei av. The son mistakenly killed his father. He goes to Golus. You may ask what the Chiddush is. Who cares whether father or son? It's just two people. Let's see. Hakol goylin al yidei Yisrael, v'Yisrael goylin al yidein. Oh, this is very difficult, and we're not going to see this today. Everybody is goyle if they kill the Yisrael. Yeah, who is everybody? We're going to see. But clearly, one Yisrael mistakenly killed another Yisrael, another Jew. He goes to Golus. But Hakol seems to add more. Other types of people that they too go to Golus. Maybe non-Jews, I don't know. But there are all types of people who, if they kill the Ben Israel, the Jewish guy, they go to Golus. The Israel Golin al Yidayin. That's a big Chiddush. Israel, who killed other people, goes to Golus. I don't think it means a goy, because that's Pashas not the halacha. I'm just reading now. We're not explaining. Chutz mi ger toishov, except for a ger toishov. It sounds like if Israel killed a ger toishov by mistake, the Israel doesn't go to Golus. Okay, what's a ger toishov? Big machlokes rishonim, three facets. I once wrote a whole shtickle about it. Ger toishov basically is a persona who's a goy and he was mekabel to right. According to most rishonim, Rambam and many Shemitz Noach, according to Rashi, it's Avodah Zarah. He only accepted not to worship Avodah Zarah, and according to other rishonim, the Gimel, the three cardinal sins, the Gilurayis, the Domim, and Avodah Zarah. And this, yeah, and Echanami. But the halacha from the Rambam is he accepted in Beis Din. We're not talking about the nice Mackenzie who happens not to mess up with, his neighbor's wife, and he happens to be a nice moral guy. Ger Toishov is a Ger Toishov. He's a half a convert in the sense that he accepted it in Beis Din of Jewish people. I'm a Ger Toishov. Today they're called Noahides. That I accept because Hashem said so. That I'm accepting in the Jewish Beis Din to do the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nei Noach. That's a Ger Toishov. The Ger Toishov ain't a goylo ela lidei Ger Toishov. A Ger Toishov only goes to Golus if he killed a fellow Ger Toishov. This whole second part of the mission about Jews versus Ger Toishov, other people, is not the discussion now. No questions, please, because it's just not yet. We will reveal that in Mirz Hashem next week. We'll explore it. Now let's continue about the father and son. Quick. Says the Gemara. At the beginning of the Mishnah, we said the father goes to Golus if he killed his son. Frag the Gemara, have goyla lidei ben? Is that so? Is the father goyla if he killed his son by mistake? The amarta yotza have a makes b'noi. Right? You said that the father who killed his son by mistake because of chinuch, then he is potter. He's exempt. Asks Toisvus, what does that have to do with anything? Isn't our Mishnah talking about a father and a son who are having a nice quality time, tiul, cutting wood in the forest? Who says we're talking about chinuch? Answers Toisvus, must be our Mishnah is talking about a father educating his son. Because if we're talking about a father and a son walking down the forest whistling with a garzen, then what's a chiddush? Why would I think otherwise? Why would I think that the father is not good because of the son? What's the difference? Is the father is not wearing the hat of the father, mechanech, yeah, then what? Then why should it be different? Of course that the father mistakenly dropped the axe, boom, on the son's head, then he goes to Golus. What's the Chiddush? Must be no. Must be the Mishnah is telling me that this is the father educating his son. You better, start learning your Gemara. And he smacked him. And then we say that nevertheless, the father is Goyle. Or, why is he Goyle? We said that he's potter from that. Answers the Gemara, the Gomir. We're talking about a good kid, miskin. A good kid is learning nicely, and the father still smacked him. Frag the Gemara, v'amarta afal gav the Gomir mitzvah. We said no, that even a good kid is a mitzvah to give a shtickle smack, yeah? Answers the Gemara, mitzvah kovid. Answers the Gemara, b'shulya denagri. The father and the son, he's not teaching him Torah. This son is learning a profession, for example, to be a nagal, to be a carpenter, and the son is the shulya of the father. The father is a carpenter, or a doctor, or a lawyer, whatever that is, and he's teaching him the trade, or a weaver, and he's teaching the son the trade, and he didn't know how to weave the fabric nicely. Then the father smacked him, and that's not justified because it's not a mitzvah to teach him a profession. So not doing anything good by smacking him when it comes to limudei chol. Says the Gemara, not true. Shula denagri chiyusi. No, it's also called life. The Gemara says, the Mishnah and Gemara in Kiddushin says, if you remember Daf Lamed, that there's a mitzvah on the father to teach his son a trade, to teach his son a profession, because it's called Misha Sharohavta, just like you mechuyev to find a shidduch for your son. A good job is a good shidduch for life. Right? So there is a mitzvah to smack him if the son wakes up 10 o'clock in the morning and then goes to the carpenter wood to the workshop. He should have been at 7 o'clock. The father gives him a smack. You got to be a good carpenter, otherwise you're going to be out about in the street, down and out. Answers the Gemara. So it is a mitzvah to hit him. So why do you punish the father by golus? Answers the Gemara. The gomir mnusach risi. That's his second profession. That son already has PhD in what? In being a diamond dealer. I don't think there's such a PhD, but it doesn't matter, yeah? He's a professional diamond dealer. He has very nice pronosa at the age of 12. Elamai, now the father wants to teach him a second profession. These people all their lives in university, PhD times PhD, until they become completely meshugane. So the son, that's his second profession. There's no justification. Torah, you always have to teach more and more. There's no end to it. Profession, once he knows one thing to do well, he's a good diamond cutter. You also want him to have another specialty of being a woodcutter, being a carpenter. That's optional. You can't force him to do that. And if you hit him, it's not a mitzvah. He already has a profession. To learn Torah learns nicely. What do you want from his life? You're just a Yiddish amame. You're, my son, the doctor. You stand being over this, and there's no mitzvah there. And therefore, if you smacked him then and you killed him, you go to Golus. And that's a chiddush of the Mishnah. That's a chiddush. Yeah, now we're happy. That Guf at Mishnah is talking about a son hit by the father in a way that's ki'ilu justifiable, but not really justifiable. Although the son is lazy and has to be, smacked into, shaped up, well, the Maisa, since he already knows Torah and he has a profession, that's a second profession, that's already not justifiable. Agiten Shabbos Tziale. See you on Sunday, Bezos Hashem, and I'll see you before, hopefully, but see you on Sunday in the Shiur. Thank you to people on Torah Anytime, and to Torah Time is an amazing site, very, 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 very amazing site. You should, if you go to the internet, go to Torah Anytime, and to the YouTube followers. Atzlacho Brochem, and we all have peace inside and outside, and not kill anybody. Chas v'shalom.